April the 24th. Our regular city council meeting is now in session. Meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channel. Search for the City of Bruceville-Eddy and click the subscribe buttons. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during this meeting. Thank you all very much for being here. I want to say it's good to see people showing up even when we're having rainy weather. So I'm glad to see you all here. If y'all would please stand for prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with humble hearts and grateful spirits. Thank you for the opportunity to gather and serve our community with wisdom, compassion, and unity. We ask for your guidance in the decisions we make tonight, that they may be just, fair, and in the best interest of all. We lift up a special prayer for thanks for the brave men and women of our military who stand in defense of our freedom, both near and far. Bless them and their families with strength, safety, and peace. We also deeply thankful for our first responders, our police department officers, and our firefighters, and for those who rush toward danger to keep us safe. May you protect them in their duties and reward their courage. And we also recognize the dedication of our workers, our public servants, our healthcare providers, teachers, and laborers, whose everyday efforts keep our community strong and thriving. May they be blessed in their work and know that their contribution matters. Grant us wisdom tonight, Lord, and help us to serve with honor and integrity. May all that we do be guided by your love and a true spirit of service. In the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. You may have a seat. Thank you. Okay, first I'd like to introduce our council members. To my left, we have Councilman Ricky Wiggins, and we have Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Graham McGruer, and to my right, I have Councilman Richardson and Councilman Prater and Councilwoman McLaughlin, and sitting right to my left is our City Administrator, Kent Manton. Also in the back, we have our Police Chief, Michael Dorsey. We have Pam Combs, our City Secretary, and we have Jamie Rodriguez of our Water Department. And that's all I see. Okay.
Gene's fixing a water
and Gene's fixing a water leak, or he'd be here. They are always on call 24/7, so that's why he's not here. So thank you all very much. Community announcements. Do we have any community announcements at this time? Yes, ma'am. Hello.
So again, thank you guys for always posting the First Friday bingo. It'll be May 2nd at 6:30 at the Family Life Center. Unfortunately, we have not decided what the mocktail's going to be because the ladies meet this weekend and I'll let them decide. So I don't have that information for you. And then the third Saturday vendor fair, also just outside the Family Life Center, will be May 17th from 10 to 2.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Ken? You got some?
Yes, ma'am. I've got a couple here for you. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a special called city council meeting. This is going to be at 10 a.m. There's only a couple items on the agenda. One of those being some negotiations, some active negotiations between council and the developer for Eagle Prairie. Come and join us if you're available. Otherwise, feel free to watch on YouTube. National Day of Prayer. We're going to be having that here May 1st at 6 p.m. Councilmember McLaughlin, do you want to say anything on that?
Yes, it'll be from 6 to 7:30, and we'll have different members of the community coming together to pray over our schools, our first responders, our city council, our state, our nation. Just come and join in agreement with us in prayer, because we always need prayer. Prayer works, and prayer changes things. So I hope to see some of your faces here. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Then secondly here, just throw up, we do still have a food bank here in the city of Bruceville-Eddy, so anybody who's interested, or if you know somebody, feel free to push them over on May 2nd at the First Baptist in Eddy. That's from 5 to 7 p.m. That is a subdivision, or not a subdivision, sorry, a component of the Shepherd's Heart Food Pantry. So this is a satellite location for that. Trash roll-off collection date is going to be the May 10th, weather permitting. That's at the Public Works Facility from 8 to 12. We also have an Economic Development Corporation scheduled for May the 13th, and that kicks off at 6 p.m. right here at City Hall.
Okay. All right, and we have one more announcement here for to go to out all of the citizens and the council's members. Here at City Hall, we try real hard to serve everybody that comes up here, but sometimes we are very, very busy. So to serve you better and to ensure efficiency at City Hall, we kindly request the following. We are asking that all visitors to the city workers be made by appointments only going forward. This will help our staff manage their time and responsibilities more efficiently. Also, if you see a door closed, please don't go in unless told to do so, because likely someone is in a meeting or that the staff member is occupied. We appreciate your understanding and cooperation with this matter. It will help us keep things running smoothly at City Hall. Thank you. Okay.
And then just one last one. Chief Dorsey, did you want to speak on the hazard mitigation plan? Or I can just tell everybody real quick. So the QR code up here before you is for participation in a short survey. If you're not aware, McLennan County has a hazard mitigation plan. Probably not many folks do. Every 5 years we update this. And essentially it's identifying any risks in our community. That could be wildfires, that could be flooding risks, that could be issues such as severe weather. What do we need to do to better protect ourselves? So this plan actually is then used for us to pursue, it's kind of a strategic plan to pursue funding opportunities for mitigation activities like improving culverts or maybe acquiring land that is prone to frequent flooding, warning sirens, that type of thing. So the consultant for McLennan County is just asking for your participation. Takes about 6 minutes or so, so just scan the QR code and have fun.
Anyone else have any more announcements? Okay, moving right along. Number 3, citizens presentation. The City Council welcomes public comments at this point on items not specifically listed on the agenda. Speakers must sign up before the meeting begins. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The council cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until a future meeting. Do we have anybody signed up, Ms. Pam? Okay, all right, moving right along. Number 4, land lease agreement proposal. Waco Group, Agility Group, I'll get it out in a minute. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a lease agreement with Waco Agility Group on land owned by the city of Bruceville-Eddy for dog training activity. Kent?
Mayor, council, community, tonight before you is a agenda item that was requested by council to be brought back before them at their next meeting tonight. Last month they wanted some more information. They wanted some more time to consider things. So I'll just give a brief overview so everybody is kind of aware of where we're at. This would be for a land lease agreement right behind City Hall. Their Waco Agility Group has been in operation since 1990, I think it is, so many years. And some of the benefits of this potential lease are going to be that it drives traffic to our community, volunteers and class participants. WAG gives back to their community. They do a lot of demonstrations. I can envision them being part of some of our events. Reduced landscaping costs for the city, so the land that they would lease behind City Hall, we would not have to maintain ourselves. They would be responsible for that. And then a small increase in revenue collection. This is a nonprofit, which is why would only be charging them $300 per year. Some of the potential drawbacks here, of course, use of the parking lot by the members and class participants, the inability for the city to use this property for any other purposes during the course of the lease, and then just your general liability considerations. Some neutral considerations there, they will be installing some lighting and fencing on the property. Of course, the lease does say that, you know, if the lease is terminated, if they do move, they would be responsible for removing those if the city wanted those to be removed. So with that, I can answer any questions. Of course, we have members of the group out here, and I know we did have one typo in that lease that we needed to
Yeah.
correct should y'all approve it, so
Yeah.
it was mostly minor, but
Yeah,
we can
and there
certainly
will
do
be
that.
no dogs left over. They will go home before the night's out. They would do go home. They won't be left on the property. They're only left in their kennels while one's being trained, the other one's either waiting for the owner or it's waiting for its turn to be trained. I remember that. So if y'all don't have any questions, if y'all want to make a motion or anything, Mr. Wiggins?
What are the normal hours of operation?
Would you, one of you ladies like to say something? Would you come to the mic, please, ma'am? They're on. We can bring it to you too, so don't, you know.
Okay, we have, most of our classes are in the evening, like from, 6 to 9, not always till 9, but that's a span.
Yeah, starts
And
around
then
6.
the field would be open for our members, that they want to come train their dogs individually, and that would be in the daytime probably.
Okay.
Am I not turned on? Okay.
Okay, so starting at 6 for training.
Yes, yeah, around 6, they would come set up and have the class, and most of our classes don't have more than 10 members,
Okay,
so they're not big classes.
okay.
So it wouldn't be, what about during the daytime from, I'll say, 8 to 5?
8 to 5, unless a member just wanted to come and train with their dog individually, but it wouldn't be like a regular class.
Okay.
And
So-
most of our members work, so they're not gonna be out there in the daytime.
Okay.
I might be there, because I'm retired.
Well, sure. Okay, thank you, that's all.
Okay, yes,
All
sir.
right, thank you, ma'am. You have Mr. McGruer?
Yeah, just quickly, you say most of the members would come in here, they're not gonna be supervised, they just come in.
They're
and
not
you-
gonna be what, sir?
You say that, we're getting an echo
You
back.
say that they would not be supervised.
Our members have to, would be they would supervise the students that come to class, and they sign a lease in order to come. And all the animals have had all their shots, we make sure of all that.
Okay, so I was just trying to clarify that, you're not gonna have somebody coming in here just working with their dog without somebody from the organization?
No, they'd have to be a member to come out here individually.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, all right, does anybody want to make a motion, or?
I make a motion that we agree to the land lease agreement proposal for Waco Agility Group.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Prater seconded that. Joyce made a motion. Prater seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, oh, I didn't see that hand. All right, congratulations, ladies. I may be bringing some of mine. Okay, number 5, solid waste collection service update. Council to engage with the management of Waste Connection. Council to hear a presentation from both city staff and representatives of Waste Connection regarding their provision of solid waste collection services. Ken, you want to say something first, and then we'll get.
Yes, ma'am. Bear with me as I get these slides. We were hearing a little bit of feedback here on the mics. Please let us know if that gets too bad out there for you. See what we can do to adjust. Did we skip one?
No, there's lease and solid waste.
I got my slides all mixed up.
Well, excuse me.
Look at me. Okay. All right, here we go. So, solid waste collection, I think everybody can agree it's an essential service that cities perform. We contract with Waste Connections. We've been doing that for about 20 years. They've been formerly known as IESI or Progressive. And we've been doing that through an exclusive franchise agreement. And so they're the sole provider of those services here in the city of Bruceville-Eddy, and they have certain contractual obligations that they're required to perform. So when I arrived here in July of 2022, I was made known of some persistent issues that were occurring with our current vendor. Those came from various sources. So we certainly investigated that, and we conversed and had some conversations with our vendor to see what we could do to alleviate that. So I just wanted to throw a quick timeline up as to our history with Waste Connections. So back in 2006 was when our original agreement commenced. And that went 5 years, then to a renewal, then to a second renewal, and right now we're on our third renewal, with the fourth one potentially coming up in 2026. So in August of 2022, I met with Jimmy. I met with some of his other staff members, let them know some of the issues we've been having, and he started the work of rimming some of those. In late August, we had enough evidence and enough issues that we needed to move to some of the next steps in the agreement. And so we issued a notice of noncompliance, failure to perform. And then 90 days was given to correct those issues. We still weren't seeing quite the level of service that we wanted to see here in Bruceville-Eddy. So council scheduled a hearing date on December the 8th. And of course, Jimmy joined us with his team for that evening, and council relayed some of the concerns that they were having, and Jimmy expressed some of the things they'd be doing to correct that. So since then, and these are my slides from 2022, where I kind of expounded upon some of the issues we were facing. The green highlights mean that I think Waste Connections has satisfactorily addressed those issues. So the first one here was bundled and bulky trash collection. The city of Bruceville-Eddy was not receiving those services, even though they were outlined in the contract to be performed. Of course, if you're unaware, that service is available upon request. Just got to call City Hall before noon on Tuesday. We get that added to a list. Waste Connections will come service that the following Wednesday, or if something comes up, maybe a little bit later in the week. But the good news is that, for a lot of your regular bulky items, you're not having to drive those to the landfill yourself. Second, missed collections. We're averaging about 3 properties in late 2022, early 2023. That has been reduced. However, it's not completely eradicated at this point. I don't know if that's really a realistic target to have, but it's a good goal to have. So I went ahead and highlighted some of the other provisions of our contract that I thought were being violated at the time. I think Waste Connections has definitely made good on some of those. And basically they have to do with communication and when those missed collections are going to be taken care of. Communication was a big issue. I know Jimmy and I talked about that a lot. He provided us with a solution. We were able to move to a joint dispatch where everybody's informed on a single communication. So I think that has alleviated a lot of problems. And then there was at least one instance where we didn't receive any notice of a rate increase. And of course, that impacts us because we're taking in less revenue and not properly accounting for what we have to pay to Waste Connections, but also it hurts the citizens because we couldn't give you a notice of a potential rate increase due to CPI factors. So here's some of my final thoughts on this, and then of course I invite Waste Connections up to speak before you. I think they've done a great job of improving the level of service. We still have some areas to improve upon, but I want to commend their efforts wholeheartedly. I think they really did a great job of responding to some of the issues we were having. Matter of fact, they go above and beyond on addressing some of the issues, and I think our utility clerk, Janie, can speak to this. She's in constant back and forth with their rep, Zach, over in the McGregor office. And sometimes they'll even come back and they'll fix issues that weren't their fault. Maybe a customer forgot to put their trash out for the day. Well, the truck's already left the area, but they're circling back around on the following day just to collect that service, make sure it's not staying out into the weekend. Some issues I still think need to be resolved. A better solution to cover for the mechanical truck failures and packouts. Sometimes that'll occur. You've probably seen the Savvy Citizen notices. We're being informed at 5 p.m. that truck has to vacate the city for the day. So what can be done to, have a contingency if that were to occur in the future? And then, like I was mentioning earlier, just zero missed collections. We'd love to have that as a goal, probably not realistic. We're averaging about 1 per month right now, which I think is a good thing, especially considering Bruceville-Eddy is so spread out. We're so spread out along I-35. It is a little bit tricky to get all the streets in here. I can certainly see that, especially if you have a fill-in driver or something like that. So my recommendation is still going to be that we go for a full request for proposals. I think it's going to allow us to see if we can get the best service at the best price. Of course, Waste Connections would be invited to submit a proposal for that as well. I don't think this service has ever been performed for the city. Yes, it's going to cost some money, but it would allow us to get the best product for the next 5-year cycle, or potentially longer or shorter, whatever council ends up deciding on that. Jimmy?
Jimmy, you want to speak on your behalf, sir?
Council Mayor, thank you. Kent, thank you for inviting me this afternoon. We did have issues a few years back when I just first arrived. And by the way, my name is Jimmy Esparza. I've been with the company for 15 years. Been with the industry almost 35 years. So I've had my share of trash in my blood for a long time. I came in from East Texas in late 2020 into 21, and obviously came in for a reason because of the service issues and everything that comes along with coming into a new site like I did. At that time, we were having a lot of mechanical issues, a lot of retention issues that we have addressed and have fixed. Our main values are people, and we have made a big stride in making sure that we retain good people to ensure the safety of our employees and the public, but also have that continuity of good service. And so since then, we've made a great effort to get that done. Obviously, treating our people right, making sure they're getting paid at market wage, in some instances above market wage, in order to retain them. So we feel that's very important to make sure that our service is top-notch to our people and to our community. So back in 2022, Ken and I spoke, and we made a concerted effort to make sure that it's done correctly. Obviously, there's some bumps in roads that happen. In the last month, I don't know if you've noticed, but you have a different truck in your city now. It's a newer truck, and it can hold a lot more trash than our old one. So we have made that proactively to get that done. It's been in your community for almost 2 months now. Ashley is the same driver that was there a few years ago, and so he's continuing on with your same driver, same route. He knows the ins and outs of the whole city, the habits of your certain citizens that come in, sometimes put their trash out late. We go back. So it's the same driver that was there, that has been there. So that continuity helps a lot. We have the same folks of maintenance folks and our supervisors. Kevin, who couldn't be here tonight, wishes he could be here, but he's under the weather, so I'm here now. We've also added in a new role, and Lori Martin started with us about 3 months ago, and she's our municipal marketer. And what she is supposed to do is really enhance that relationship with our cities and our munis by getting more involved into city events, city communication, that type of thing. And so we felt it was very important that we were lacking that in our area, in the Central Texas market. So we hired her on. She's got a vast experience in customer relations. She comes from the banking industry. She was on her way here today, and she was in a car accident on the way here. Fortunately, she was okay. Her car's a little messed up, but she is sorry that she cannot make it out here. I think she was here a week ago, a couple weeks ago. You may have met her. Maybe she met the staff. But she wishes she was here, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. So that's another concerted effort that we make to enhance our relationship with the city and to get more involved with the community. You know, I think we've made a lot of strides in the communication and being open and upfront, so that way when these things do arise, that you're able to communicate that with your citizens. But also at the same time, we're doing every concerted effort to make sure that, let's say, for example, this truck goes down, that we're able to bring in another truck to finish up the route or whatever needs to be done. And so that has happened on a few occasions as well. So we're making every effort to make sure that your trash gets picked up on time on the scheduled day. CPI, obviously, that's the price index, consumer price index that we do every year. We didn't do a CPI on it last year. It's, again, it usually varies, just whatever that consumer price index it happens to be at that time. You did have one in 2023 that was around 2.7%, so it's very minimal. But I can assure you that we are trying everything we can to make sure your costs are in line, and that, obviously that you have the best possible price that you can have throughout this whole market. And I encourage you to make sure that, check all the prices that are around. Obviously, going to RFP, you'll get pricing from other customers, from other vendors. But I can assure you our pricing in this area is very comparable to what others are paying.
Do we have any questions, council members? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir. A couple. What other cities do y'all serve?
We service the city of Moody, McGregor, Crawford, Meridian. I'm trying to think in this area here, city of Cameron, city of Rosebud Lot, city of Rogers, city of Buckholz. So we have quite a bit of cities in this area.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you was talking about y'all recently purchased a new truck that's bigger and will hold more. Approximately how many of those trucks does it take to do our trash service?
Usually it's one truck, and unfortunately, it's not new.
Right.
It's newer to everybody here.
Okay.
But it's one truck on Tuesdays. He starts in the city between 7:30. Usually by 4 or 5 o'clock, he's out going.
With that one truck?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it varies. I can get you
yeah.
actuals, but anywhere 8 to 11 tons per day, per pickup per week is kind of what the average is here. I can get you actuals if you guys would like to see that.
What and some of this up here talks about packed out. Is that, I'm not sure about that terminology, but does that mean the truck's full?
Yes, sir. Sometimes when there's an abundance of trash, and it usually happens in the summer months,
Yeah.
or around March, April during
Holidays,
Yes,
maybe?
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. We do have our trucks get packed out, and our landfill, closes at 5 o'clock. In
Okay.
addition to that, DOT rules and laws only allow us to work 12 hours a day. And
Right.
that's part of the law, but also, again, goes into that retention of having that home and work-life balance, that we try to make sure that our guys are not out there 11, 12, 13 hours a day behind that wheel. And so as much as we want to get the service and get it done, there's times where we just say, you know what, you've been out there, 12 hours a day already. Let's bring it in, let's communicate to the city, either we're packed out or ran out of time, that we'll come back first thing in the morning and get it picked up as soon as possible. We found that as soon as a driver or an employee starts working over 11 hours, their risk of having an incident or making mistakes goes up a lot. So we feel that 11 to 12 hour range, we feel that, all right, let's figure something out, and let's get our employee in, and let's get it figured out for tomorrow.
But when the trucks are packed out, is that Is that normally, like, you pretty much know when that's gonna be?
It depends. When I was a driver, way back when, you know, I would know how much, where I was, because the blade only goes back so far.
Right,
When you start getting full, it starts going back and not as far as back, so you can
Okay.
kind of gauge.
right,
You know, if it's running heavy, then, you know, probably not gonna make it.
right.
Savvy Citizen, I'll put it on our GroupMe page, the Be Safe page,
And for anybody out there
On the
that,
city's
knows-
website.
and then on the city's website, yes, sir.
and if anybody out there knows somebody that maybe they do not have internet or stuff like that, if, you know, or cell phones, a lot of them don't have cell
Right.
phones or internet. If you know of them, go see if we can help them. Let us know. We'll go check on them and we'll see if they'd like to sign up for it so we can get this. Just call us up here at City Hall. You'll probably get Miss Jamie every time, and then you can give her the information and she can pass it on to us if they don't call the chief first. Okay, is that about right, chief?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
Awesome program, too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. It really is. And I know how, and your books, I mean, you're booked, just like Kent is, and you're volunteering to do all this other stuff, so kudos to you, chief. I'm proud of you, all both of you. All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything for the chief on this? Okay.
All right.
All right, I guess that's
Thank
it,
y'all.
chief. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, our next one is Gene, and he is out, they're out fixing a water leak, so he's not here. Most of his stuff is inside your packets as far as council goes. I know they did replace one water meter already up there by the post office, because they were in that pretty deep the other day. Hydrant, I mean, not water, what did I say, water faucet?
Water meter.
Water meter. Oh, hydrant, water hydrant, so they did get that replaced. So they've been working and trying to get things done, so, Mr. Wiggins?
One thing on Gene's report, you know, I look at this every month, and the loss is down by about approximately 350,000 gallons.
Good.
And from last month, and the loss percentage is down by 4.33%
Good.
versus last month. And we sold about 52% of the water pumped versus last month was 45%. So we're going in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, that's all.
All right. Kudos to the water department. Okay, engineers report, it should be in your packet. If y'all have any questions on that, Kent can answer them for you or something if y'all have some questions. Is that correct, Kent? Anyone have any questions? Okay, we'll go on to the city administrator's report. Kent?
Thank you, and thank you, Janie, for working to get all that back up and running. When life gives you lemons, make some lemonade. Okay, so just wanted to mention, we do still have several jobs posted here at the city of Bruceville-Eddy. Great opportunity. One of those being a patrol officer or SRO officer with our police department. Always looking for great folks, as are many cities in the area. Also, we have a posting for a vacant utility maintenance technician, as well as a new position that we've created for a senior utility maintenance technician. And really, that position is all about emboldening not only our water, not only our street repair activities, but also getting ready and preparing for this new sewer system that we're about to have up and running, and all of the maintenance that it will require. Just want to mention a shout out to one of our water technicians, Keelan LeBron. He passed his Class C water license this month. I know he's been working and studying on that for quite some time. He's upgrading a D to a C. Is actually quite involved. He had to take about 60 hours worth of training over the last couple years to even get to a point where he could test for this. So he is now authorized to go out there and take distribution samples and all the other things that we need of him. So way to go, Keelan. Just to mention, we are going to have some construction going on in Eddy in addition to the sewer. I know everybody's
Aren't we happy?
happy about more construction, right? But Encore let us know that they're going to be working within their right-of-way towards the end of May. I'm looking at my notes here. This is going to be about a 2-month project. It's going to impact downtown Eddy. This is mostly gonna be around Eagle, on Temple, and a little bit on Franklin. But I've been told that they're not planning on closing any roads as a part of this project. They may have to do some temporary lane closures while they, work on some of those overhead power lines, but you shouldn't be impacted significantly by this project. What they're doing is they're just adding some components of three-phase out there. In addition to this, for all of our Hungry Hill folks, Atmos Energy has a plan to replace all of their gas lines that are past a certain age within the Mid-Tex region. And so they're starting here in Eddy, and they're gonna be starting on Hungry Hill Road. This project's gonna kick off on May 1st, we've been told, and it's gonna take about 2 weeks for them to complete. But they're going from Highway 7 all the way to the bend around Duty Park, and they're gonna replace all the gas lines over there. So again, on this one, there should be no road closures or anything like that you're gonna have to worry about. I think the sewer's probably still gonna be your biggest complaint.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. TxDOT work on FM 107, so another construction project. They are going to be resealing the majority of FM 107 this summer. So this is going to include full sign replacements up and down this corridor, getting a top coat of asphalt. So it will still be one of the nicest roads in Bruceville-Eddy. I did also request a street sweep in downtown Eddy per our maintenance agreement. They're gonna try to get down there as soon as possible. They have one of these pieces of equipment, so they gotta bring it in from a different area, but a lot of debris accumulation occurring down there. I just wanna let you know I did request that one. Just a couple things on the sewer here. We are aware that we have several in between their development coming online or their manufactured home being delivered and the sewer system's operation. We've been going back and forth with Waco McLennan County. Thank you, Commissioner Smith, for kind of helping us out with that. We do plan on submitting on behalf of and in partnership with those landowners some variance requests to the department for either approval or denial. And we're trying to be good neighbors, compliance with the law, but this is a very unique situation. So I can answer any more questions on that if you have any. Right now, we're at 292 out of 312 right-of entry forms completed. That's 94% complete. Kudos to Pam, to Janie, to Laura, for everybody who's helped get all of these signatures. Right now, we're just dealing with some stragglers. And it's like this because these property records are, they're vague. Maybe they're lagging in who's the responsible party. Or you've got an abandoned property where, maybe unfortunately somebody's passed away and it's caught up in probate. And so those are the requests to Pete Sessions' office for appropriations funding. Mr. Tom Ray of Ray Hicks helped us some expansion to the sewer system. And the idea being for that is to continue to serve residents in Bruceville-Eddy and thereby reduce the burden and the cost to those who are currently going to be on it. Next, on the water system, just a quick update on the Old Bethany Water Main Improvement Project. So Danielle and the rest of MRB group, we met this past week, and we talked about when that construction is supposed to start. It's going to be kicking off on May 5th. If you're inside the city limits, they have 210 days to substantial completion. No road closures are expected or anticipated with this project. I wanted to go into a little bit of this is a partnership we entered into about a year or so ago. It's kind of a novel idea. Not many small cities do this. This is something that larger cities with a lot of water accounts engage a company like this. But essentially, they come into a water system and they look for opportunities to increase revenue and decrease water loss. And so they were able to identify so far about 10 different issues that we have investigated, remedied, or said, hey, no, we're already aware of that. Bottom line, we're looking at an additional $1,900 in revenue that has been created as a part of this process to date. And Water Company of America does get 50% of that share for 4 years. That's their incentive. That's their only incentive and only its meter rate. 2 of those customers have come in and requested that they be swapped out for the lower rate. They weren't sure why they had a 1-inch meter and they didn't need a 1-inch meter. So that revenue stream has been cut off. 1 meter that was missed during the upgrade to Neptune meters, there was no usage at all being recorded on that. So the customer was just getting away with base rate on that. 2 truncation errors, and essentially what that means is we had a oopsie on our end, and then we had 1 leaking meter box on the city's side. Any questions on that one before we move on? Okay, and then lastly here, just grant updates. The General Land Office Resilient Communities Program Grant. This is for our comprehensive plan and all those subsidiary plans that would be underneath that. The grant submission has been submitted as of 4/14. The ball is now in General Land Office's court for administering that and hopefully awarding us that grant for $300,000 of planning services. And then Community Development Block Grant, right now we're just working through compliance items on that. This is for a full water line improvement between 3rd and 4th Street. We're replacing an old galvanized line that breaks every time somebody runs a lawnmower over it. So hopefully we will get that thing replaced over the next year. Bidding's probably gonna be going out in the summer or so. And with that, that's all I have for you. I can answer any questions on any development activities. Otherwise, I've just got a couple items up here to show you real quick. Sales tax revenue, and this is 2 months behind, just so you're aware. So what you're seeing in February, that's what happened in December. It takes a couple months for it to come back into the city's coffers. But you can see here that it's mostly remaining stable. We've got those new levels, thanks to the voters approving those new sales tax. And then we had our peak for the Christmas time. The budget for this year, I just want to say, we are all under that 50% mark on expenditures for the year. And of course, we're already halfway through the year, so I think we're doing a good job of managing what you've given us and what the citizens have given us. And then a few monthly happenings here. There are some active constructions. If it's been a while since you moved around Bruceville-Eddy, got the duplexes on Melissa Street, pretty much completed. They're on the market. Got duplexes in a single-family home going up on 4th Street. And then this one here is actually in our Shady Shores development. And then lastly, the mayor and several other staff members hosted an Easter egg hunt here at City Hall. This was kind of a trial, if you will, Mayor, right?
Yes.
Kind of thrown together a little bit last minute, but I think it was very successful. Got a lot of families out there. The Easter Bunny even showed up.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, yeah, it did. And the kids, he only scared one kid. And that was Jamie's grandbaby. Went and sat down beside the grandbaby, and because he wouldn't come to me, wouldn't go to the rabbit, so the rabbit goes over there and sits down on the bench, and he just turns out, looks, and and that was it. So, but it was a good thing. We had 300 eggs. 100 eggs was filled with money, $1 each, and then there was prize eggs and candy eggs, and we had 300 eggs that we scattered out there in 4 different sections, and it went really well, and had free hot dogs and for the families and stuff. So it was really good. We enjoyed it. It's going to be good. We're coming back next year too. Bigger and better for Bruceville-Eddy. Yeah.
That's all I had. If there's any questions out there, happy to answer them.
Yes, sir.
I'm Rick Edmiston. What's the status of Sefco and the new company that bought them out, and as far as a convenience store in Bruceville-Eddy?
Yes, so I spoke with Guy Slimp. He's the representative from Monsanto who represents Sefco or Casey's now on these new developments last week. And he mentioned that this is still a go for the Casey's Corporation. However, now with sewer going in, they have deprioritized this project. They've got about 40 other builds that they're currently doing, so they've just kind of put this a little bit lower on the list. Once sewer's active in the area, they plan on going forward with that. But they are gonna be doing a complete redesign with the Casey standards, so it'll look a little bit different. They're gonna have to submit all those construction plans back to us, and their plan is no longer to do septic, but to tie into sewer, of course.
One more question.
Sure.
So, when's the anticipated date of the sewer system being online?
So the substantial completion is supposed to be October of 2025. We've hit a few snags in that. I think I've made it known to City Council what some of those snags are. We are anticipating that this will be a little bit behind, but not significantly behind. So we're looking somewhere in early 2026, I would say, at this point. Everything else being equal.
Right, so we're looking a year and a half, 2 years down the road before we might see a store here.
Or you might flush that
No.
toilet.
Oh, for
No.
Sefco, or,
For
sorry,
Sefco.
before
Oh, yeah.
Casey's.
No,
No.
but the Accent Center.
The one out,
In
Well, we
that
know
one,
we've got
the
the one-
Accent Center
That one on the
by the
interstate down
TV,
there,
the
but I
old
was,
TV station is still scheduled for June, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that station
but
is.
there, okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
But
Yes, sir. Okay, all right. All right, no questions? All right, we're going to number 11, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered by the city council and will be enacted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless council member or a member of the public so request. A, approval of the minutes. B, financial of March of 2025. Interlocal corporation agreement for culverts, culverts. And D, interlocal corporation purchasing agreement for asphalt. Does anybody have anything they want to pull out? Mr. Wiggins?
I'd like to pull out the 11B, the finances.
11B, okay. All right, anybody else? Okay, all right, do I have a motion that we accept all the other ones besides B, 11B? Okay, so, Mr. McGruer made a motion that will accept 11, 11A, 11C, and 11D. All in favor?
Oh, second?
Oh, second it.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins seconded. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right. Okay, so you want to discuss B,
Oh.
sir?
Okay, on 11B, and I did talk with Esther about this, but, we need to bring it up for a matter of record. Okay, if you look on page 4 and 5 of your, general fund, page 4, and it was a notation on that. If you look at your notations, the notation on that, it'll be item number, a budget item, line item number 10206709, which is the K-9 expenses under the departmental expenses. If you see that, it's $360.93. And that showed that it was for 3 animal handling gloves and 2 kennels. Well, when I looked at that, I thought, well, now, wait a minute, that shouldn't go on the K-9. And so I called Esther about it and talked with her, and to me, that should move to line item 10216210, which is on the next page, which is under administrative costs, where that animal control. So that should go under animal control. And that's all. So so I make the motion that we move that line item, as I just stated, from 10206709 to the, 216210, that cost at $360.93.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr.
And
Richardson second.
And with that, I'll approve the rest of the, finances.
Okay. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. So Wiggins and Richardson. Okay. Number 12. Estimate of budget committee. Establishment of budget committee. Council discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the creation of a temporary budget committee to prepare the draft of the FY 2025-2026 budget.
Yes, Mayor, Council, so this is a committee that's typically established around this time. Traditionally, it's been comprised of the mayor, 2 council members, city administrator, and relevant department heads. 3 council members have expressed interest in serving again this term. That'd be Mayor Pro Tem McGruer, Councilman Wiggins, and Councilman Richardson. I just recommend that you approve a committee that pleases the council.
Last year, we had a recommendation, to, just use it for workshops, but we're not gonna do that. And then Mr. Wiggins made a statement that it needs to be somebody with some experience and then bring on somebody new. Well, at that time, we only had 2 people that wanted it, and that was Wiggins and Mr. McGruer. Now, Mr. McGruer and Mr. Wiggins both have experience, and Mr. Richardson would be the one coming in, but it takes a vote to see who's gonna be in this. So I guess what we need to do is, I can say whoever, just ask who wants to vote for a certain one and raise, or how do y'all wanna go about that?
Well, traditionally, a motion is made by one of the council
One
members.
of the council
that-
members, okay.
That they select the member,
Okay,
the 2 members that they want to serve on the committee.
okay. Joyce, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna make a motion
Okay.
that we select Mayor Pro Tem
McGruer?
McGruer and Councilman Wiggins due to their experience in this area. Last year I was new, and I was told because I was new, I needed to wait, so I feel like we need to follow that same rule this year.
All right. Anybody else have a motion?
The
Or-
motion needs a second on that.
Okay, I need a second on these 2. No? Okay. All right, no motion. Okay, now does somebody else want to make another motion about a council member? You want to bring that up? No, because we're waiting to vote on Richardson. Now we're going to try to get,
Nobody seconded it.
Nobody seconded
huh? Well, okay, you're going to second that one for McGruer and Wiggins? Okay. Okay. All right, and then we have to, all in favor? Okay, so discussion of vote, do we have? Discussion or a vote, so we have discussion. If anybody else want to be in it besides, I think Mr. Richardson wants to be in it, so it's open for discussion, or we'll take a vote.
I thought it was a motion made. I thought it was already a motion made and seconded.
Yeah, it is, but
Okay.
but he,
Then you go
I
to
just go,
discussion.
so
Yeah.
now, okay, all in favor of McGruer and Wiggins? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, all right, and 1 opposed, okay, so congratulations, you 2 are in it.
Okay.
Then, I guess that's how it goes? We
Yeah.
have to do it like that. Is
Sure.
that-
Yes, ma'am.
okay, all right. Maybe next year, Mr. Richardson?
It's whatever y'all decide.
Yeah. All right, going.
And just
to-
for clarification for Pam, was that a abstain down there, Councilman Richardson, or was that a
Yeah.
opposed?
That was an opposed.
As
Opposed?
opposed.
Okay.
Mhm. 'Cause
Not gonna
he-
vote
he
against
was wanting-
myself.
Yeah, he can't vote against himself, he says.
Well, he could abstain.
Yeah,
So
no,
just
I
a-
get you.
All right. 13. Interlocal agreement for street repairs. At the recommendation of the Street Repair Committee, council discussed, consider, and possibly take action to approve the city administrator to enter into an interlocal cooperative agreement with McLennan County for the purpose of authorizing McLennan County Precinct 1 Road and Bridge crews to reseal both Mackey Ranch Road and Crescent Meadows Lane in an estimated amount of $23,760.
Mayor, council, we're getting towards the end of this agenda, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about why this recommendation is being made by the Street Repair Committee. So, the committee itself, just for those who aren't aware, it's comprised of council members, staff, and citizens. We met 3 times this past what, 3 months or so, Danielle? Something like that, Colton?
Something,
So,
a while.
unfortunately, despite having created one of the largest budgets for repairs in recent history here at Bruceville-Eddy, McLennan County Precinct 1 informed us that they're going to be unable to do any reconstruction of roads, primarily due to the fact that they had a lot of flooding last year and that they were working on repairing their roads, they were working on repairing their culverts. So completely understandable. But here we are with this big pot of money, relatively speaking, and we don't have a whole lot of places to spend it. So our equipment, we do have equipment here at the city of Bruceville-Eddy for patching activities. However, we're unable to perform. We don't have the experience. We don't have the major road reconstruction equipment needed for a complete reconstruction of these chip-sealed roads. So the committee decided early on we were going to request a proposal to rebuild a portion of Hungry Hill Road. Of course, council approved the design and preliminary engineering of that at their last council meeting, but we were just going to kind of wait and see what happened with McLennan County to see if potentially we could do some reconstruction projects later on in the year. The county foreman came back to me and he said, hey, we do have some opportunities for reseals. I'm planning on resealing all of Mackey Ranch Road this year. Would you like me to just continue? I've already got my equipment out there. Want me to just continue all the way through the city limits, all the way to highway, or to FM 107? So we got that quote and we brought that before the committee. We had about $66,000 in our budget for this year. We allocated some to that Hungry Hill project, but we wanted to continue investing in roads. And so so the committee did recommend to city council that we approve this reseal. And so there are other roads in Bruceville-Eddy that are a bigger priority for reconstruction. I think we can all think of a few. Obviously the sewer streets are gonna be completely overhauled. That's a $1.68 million project. This is outside of that. Roads like the middle section of Eagle where there's no sewer gonna be installed. Roads like Horseshoe Bend, a portion of Hungry Hill, right? Those are all sections that really are in need of repair, but they require a full reconstruct. So the committee believed that this is the best option that we have utilizing this year's budgetary constraints. So this quote also includes a reseal of Crescent Meadows Lane. This was reconstructed in 2023. This reseal, what it does is they're just putting another thin layer of gravel, another thin layer of oil on top of the coat, and it's just gonna extend the longevity of that. So the reseal quote broken down, you've got $19,000, about $20,000 there for Mackey Ranch, another $4,000 for Crescent Meadows, you're at $23,000. What does that look broken down? So if you were to approve tonight, the budget for patching for the next 5 months, that's the remainder of this fiscal year, you've got about $6,299 remaining as of the time that financial report was prepared for you. So this is not gonna touch that street repair sales tax fund. That's built up to $37,000. That's gonna roll over into future years. That hasn't been allocated yet. And then again, that $1.6 million that's allocated to the sewer street reconstruction. So with that, the street repair committee's recommendation is to approve this bid.
Do we have any questions?
Got one
Hey,
down
Mr.
there.
Wiggins?
Okay. You know, we've got, and like, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We okay to go now? Okay, okay. Well, you know, we've got a lot of other streets, and I know that Mackey Ranch hadn't been reconstructed. There's only about 3 or 4 potholes in that road, and maybe this would work good for that. But yeah, I would like to know was, you know, because we have other streets here in town that a lot of people that are not in good shape, and that the sewer is not going to affect, that we could have used this 20,000 on those streets. And I think a lot of people might say, well, you know, why did you spend $20,000 on Mackey Ranch Road when it's not very bad at all? And when maybe, for an example, would be maybe Eagle Drive, I'll say, use that because a lot of people use that because of school and their kids from, I'll say, Temple Street to Miracle Lane. You know, we could have used some money for that. So I'd like to know from the committee, was there any other streets that y'all even considered besides Mackey Ranch Road? And if so, what were they?
I'll speak for you, Danielle Colton. I know y'all probably weren't prepared to speak, but feel free to chime in if you feel free to do so on that one. So just like years past, we usually prepare a preliminary street, or excuse me, let me try to get this out, preliminary report of priority listed streets. Maybe we need to change that name. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Jeez. Okay, anyways, we prepared that report, and it was during that report preparation that we heard from the county letting us know, hey, we're not gonna do any reconstructs this year. And so there's a huge gap between the county services, you know, they can reconstruct these roads for us for chip seal, or you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. Well, what we've seen for maybe a full overhaul of a road using a private vendor, and you're going through and you're restoring the base and you're putting asphalt on there, that's a huge difference in cost. That was, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. So we only have this pocket of money. And yes, while we looked at Ashley, we looked at Horseshoe Bend, we looked at Eagle. What was the other one? Oh, Forest Creek. Yes, yes, complete. That's true. That's true. That's a good one. Thank you. And we get a lot of complaints from the school district on that one too, because it's poorly maintained.
The county said they wasn't gonna do any streets, but while they were on Mackey, they would just finish it out
Correct.
for a
So
low
anyways,
cost.
That's the long answer to your question, but yes, the roads
Right.
were considered, but not having the county as an option, a partner for that, we really
Yeah.
couldn't move forward with it.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess my main concern is, I don't want the citizens thinking that, because we have a committee, and the committee gets together and they decide, and then they come to the council, that the council will just rubber stamp it.
No.
You know, I want 'em- the council is gonna look at it and ask questions, because I know that somebody's gonna say that, why are y'all doing Mackey Ranch? You know, somebody's gonna say that.
Yeah,
And so now it's out here where we know why.
yeah,
So anyway, that was my intent for,
yeah, just to
that.
find out why for sure. so
yes,
to let the
yes, and to
citizens know.
let the people
Yeah.
know that we just don't rubber stamp a committee's, a council does. We do look at it and actually question
Yes,
some
sir.
of it.
So do I
anyway,
have a
that was it.
recommendation?
I'll make a motion, we approve the Mackey Ranch project.
All right. And Mr. McGurr seconded.
Can I get clarification on that
Yes,
one?
sir.
So it is Mackey Ranch and Crescent Meadows.
Yes.
We're
Right.
approving the
Those two
full
for the
ILA.
20
Sorry.
days,
The
760.
ILA,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, Mr. Richardson made a motion that we approve street repair for, letting the county, McLennan County, for the purpose of authorizing McLennan County Precinct 1, road and bridge crew to reseal both Mackey Ranch Road and Crescent Meadows Lane in an estimated amount of $23,760. And Mr. McGruer seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. 14, sewer charge order number 2, lift station site C. Council discuss, consider, and possibly take action on sewer system change order number 2 for SJ&J Construction LLC, increasing the length of lift station site C to avoid potential drainage issue, providing an additional cost.
thank you, Mayor.
So at the bidding of the sewer project, this site was completely overgrown with vegetation. It was not 100% sure, or it wasn't very clear as to the fact that there was a potential flooding risk here. So our engineer identified this, and what we're requesting tonight is to increase the length or the depth of this lift station about 1.5 feet. So this is gonna provide more capacity to handle wastewater flows and to prevent overflows into the nearby creek. This is $19,500 to SJ&J Construction. My recommendation and that of Tabor Associates is to approve. Here's a map of that lift station right there at the end of Tatum, kind of towards Church Street and Bruceville. This is the current lift station that was delivered to the site. And you can see here's just a speck of the diagram. We're gonna be extending that 11 feet to that 13.3 feet.
Okay, we have a motion. Are any questions? No questions? Do we have a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Okay, Prater? Okay, and McGruer. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Mr. Prater, number 15.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
And Joyce seconds it. All in favor?
I think this is
Thank
the
you.
record.
Thank y'all. It is 7:47 and this council meeting is now closed. That's his favorite one, so we always give it to him.